I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself again, just so that people listening can know who I am. And
Sure.
then if you would feel comfortable introducing yourself, then I'll get into my questions.
Hmm.
So my name is Kat Bijard, and I'm working with Beyond Academics this summer.
It's great to meet you. I'm Neil Scudra, and I'm the president of Spectrum at UNCG, and I'm a graduate student at UNCG.
Great. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Um, Before I get into my questions, could you tell me a little bit about Spectrum at UNCG and maybe what it means to you?
Well, it's a group that I co-founded for students on the autism spectrum at UNCG. First started at UNCG in August 2016 as a master's student in the history program. And I'm on the spectrum myself, and I moved here from California, from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had a strong autism support network there, and I gave all of that up in moving to North Carolina. So I wanted to have, I wanted to have a source of community in moving, since I moved here to North Carolina, I wanted to have a new source of community and support. And so I met Dr. Omar Ali, who is the dean of the Lloyd International Honors College, and together with him, I co-founded the group. So it's meant as a source of community for students on the spectrum, and also as a group for promoting autism awareness on campus.
Great. Thank you so much for explaining all that. Yeah. So my first question then is, who is your club for? Is there a certain type of student or a certain kind of student that you're looking for, or is it kind of open?
It's meant for students who are on the autism spectrum. Um, other people, other students are also welcome, uh, who like maybe who have relatives on the spectrum, or maybe who work with people on the spectrum. Um, it's specifically meant for people on the spectrum, but it's also open to to other people who have some connection with with the with individuals who are on the spectrum.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that helps clarify. I think um, I can understand making it really specific to people on the spectrum so that uh, people involved really understand. Yeah. When and where does your club meet?
Um,
And if we're distance learning in the fall, what can we expect?
um, the group meets every 2 weeks normally in Faust 208. It's the Global Commons room in the Faust building. Sometimes it meets in Dr. Ali's office, which is room 205 in the Faust building.
Mhm.
Um, and we typically meet on like every other Friday, around 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the afternoon, and meetings are typically about an hour long. For the fall, if we have to meet virtually, then um, in that case, we um, we could set up regular virtual meetings for time that works for everybody.
Okay, great. Yeah. I think it's nice to know that even if things are kind of different in the fall, that people can expect at least some kind of connection from a club, especially if they really get a lot of support from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what type of environment can students expect? So if we are meeting in person, um, size of the space, those kind of physical aspects, whether it be like music or volume, that kind of thing. What can students expect?
It's a pretty relaxed atmosphere um, when we meet in person. Um, it's the turnout is typically very small, and the Global Media Commons is it's a very relaxed room. So we don't really have any loud music um, when we have our meetings. So meetings are generally, you know, very relaxed and congenial.
Hmm. Great. Um, what are some social norms of the space that students should be aware of? Maybe like, is there assigned seats, or do we talk before meetings start? What are some things that students should sort of know, maybe before they come?
Let's interact respectfully with peers. Um, Dr. Ali is the academic advisor for the group, so acknowledge him as as the academic advisor for the group. Of course, he's developed some of the group members developed pretty close relations with him, and so they interact with him on a pretty informal basis, referring to him by his first name. I prefer personally to address him formally. I've worked very closely with him over the years, but I still I still address him formally, and everyone's input is welcomed. So you know, so people who come to the group should show an openness and consideration for other people's opinions.
Hmm. Great. Does it cost anything to be a member of the club or to be an active member?
No, it doesn't. Um, it
Great.
does. Membership is free.
Awesome.
Uh, we for our board we did select a treasurer for the group, but nothing's really happened with now in that regard um, so much. So our activities have been pretty limited.
Hmm. Okay. How welcoming is your club to new people or beginners?
We're very welcoming to new people. Um, we we've tried to recruit. We try to recruit new members, been by tabling in the EUC building, handing out flyers, um, and having a sign-up sheet. And we tell people in the EUC hall about what the organization is. Um, and we're welcoming towards new people, and we try to make the provide a warm and hospitable environment for them to be involved in.
Yeah, great. What would you say to someone, to a student that might feel intimidated or maybe uneasy with getting involved?
I would tell them that the spectrum at UNCG is where they can meet other people who share their diagnosis, where they don't have to feel uncomfortable about talking about people on the spectrum tend to be closeted about their diagnosis, and in the spectrum at UNCG, they don't have to have that uneasiness because they can meet other people on the spectrum, and so they can discuss openly their experiences with being on the spectrum.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really important for people to feel like they have a safe space. You mentioned this a little bit already. My next question was, how does your club market or advertise to students or potential members? I heard you talk a little bit about tabling in the EUC. Is there any other way that you guys advertise?
We've we've given in the past. I've emailed posters to the OR's office, and I've also contacted the disability student offices for other colleges in Greensboro, such as Guilford College and Greensboro College. So I've asked them to advertise the group. And in the UC, of course, we do tabling, handing out flyers, and have a sign-up sheet. And so I will send, after we do the tabling, I'll send an email to the new people who have signed up, and I will tell them, about the the meeting time for the group, and when we have our next meeting, and I invite them to come.
Great. So how do you expect students to get involved with or engage in the club? So what would you like to see students do?
I would like them to show up at the meetings, and I'd like them to feel free and comfortable about sharing their input and sharing their experiences. And I'd like to see them spread the word about the group, and I'd like them to share ideas for ways of making the group more active. We have held panel discussions with classes in which we talk about the autism spectrum, in order to promote autism awareness for the people on campus. I'd like to see some more. Activities, in pursuit of that mission. So I'd like people who come to the group to share their insights and ideas about more ways of making the group active.
Great. Does your club socialize outside of club meetings? And if so, how?
They doesn't really, not so much. I personally am friends with a few of the group members, and so I've gotten together with them outside of the group in person on a number of occasions. One of them I had pretty good friendship with. He moved to He moved to New Jersey. And another person who came to the group, he's involved with the Wesley Luther organization at UNCG, and so I get together with him through there.
Very cool. Awesome. And you kind of went ahead and hit on my next question, which was, how many club members would you say are friends outside of the club?
Number of friends outside of the club, I would say maybe about 4, in terms of about 4 or 5 in terms of getting together outside of the group. But right now, of course, with the pandemic, can't can't really get together with them in person.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and this may not have an answer, and that's okay. But how can students remain connected after graduation, or can they?
They can remain connected after graduation by keeping in touch through email or Facebook. If we share each other's phone numbers, we can stay in touch that way.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
they are still welcome to, if they are still living in Greensboro, they're still welcome to come to group meetings, um,
Okay.
or 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 tune in virtually if they're living somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that sounds great, because it sounds like your club provides a lot of support and connection for folks. So I can imagine that if students really enjoy it and feel that sense of community, they might want to, keep up some sort of connection.
Hmm.
Let's see. And you may not know this off the top of your head, and that's okay. But does your club have a mission statement?
We do have one that we've included when having groups certified.
Hmm.
Our mission statement is to promote autism awareness and foster a source of community for students on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, great. And does your club have any values or traditions that we should know about?
Um, about values, I would say values include inclusivity, um, and um, self, promoting um, promoting community, um, self-esteem, uh, social awareness in terms of fostering autism awareness in the broader campus community.
Mhm.
And also, I would say value is encouraging people to share their voices,
Yeah, that's really important.
develop greater self-confidence in their ability to self-advocate.
Yeah, that's really important. Um, in your experience, how have you witnessed beyond academic students engaging in the club in the past? Or maybe have you?
Um, I'm not so sure. I think we may have had. I think we may have had a few. I think we may have had a few beyond academic students come to the Spectrum group. Um, can't Not quite sure, but I think a few of them might have come to the group. Um, and shared their experiences. But the turnout for the group has generally been very small. It's smaller than I would like it to be. It's sometimes it's just been 3 people in attendance. Sometimes it's like maybe 5 or 6 people at most. And there's plenty more students who are on the spectrum, so I'd like there to be a greater turnout. Um, but a major factor I feel is that a lot of students on the spectrum are closeted about their diagnosis and they don't really want to come out, and I think that might be one of the reasons that there haven't been more students coming to the spectrum group. And of course also people's scheduling conflicts. um,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there could be a range of reasons why there hasn't been the participation, but it sounds like you're hopeful to keep advertising and getting the word out.
yes.
How important is diversity to your club?
Diversity is important. We have people. We have people of all. We have people of all backgrounds in the group, um, and it is mainly people who are on the spectrum. But we also welcome people who are neurodiverse in other ways.
Yeah, because my understanding is that autism can present differently for different folks.
That's
Um,
true.
so just kind of like your name suggests, I think, there's a spectrum of different people with different, you know, different presentations of autism and different everything, likes, dislikes, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
What accommodations does your club provide for variously abled students, or could could the club provide maybe?
Um, we can have accommodations for people who are physically disabled. People, um, people in wheelchairs. They can attend our meetings, uh, and we can have space. Make space in the room for them. If they require a personal attendant, then their personal attendant can be there with them.
Hmm.
If there are any people who are speech impaired, as is the case with many people who are many autistic individuals who are lower functioning, um, if they have a speech therapist with them, then their speech therapist could be there in attendance as well, in order to help communicate.
Hmm. Hmm. Very cool. Great.
I mean, it's mainly been when we've had our meetings, it's mainly been people who are higher functioning in attendance. But we want to have, we want to have a broad range of people on the spectrum in our group.
Yeah. 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 Thank
Another
you for
reason
sharing.
for wanting a higher turnout.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Um, does your club connect in any way to academic or career skills?
Well, in the sense of promoting self self advocacy, um, in the sense of helping people to develop self advocacy skills and speaking public speaking skills through our tabling and through our panel discussions. It can be related in that sense, since those are important skills for people to have in order to achieve academic or career success.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, those are very important skills, um, in school and out of school.
Yes,
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to learn those skills. And I think they take a lot of practice.
yes.
Yeah. I think we've reached the end of my questions.
Okay.
Uh, but I want to check in with you to see if there's anything else that maybe I should have asked, or just something that you want people to know about your club, especially since, it sounds like you want to get the word out about it.
I do, and I would really like beyond. I would really like more students from beyond academics to reach out to the group, try to become involved in it, because I really like the group to expand its membership and have a greater turnout. So, if you know any students who are in the Beyond Academics program, I would really appreciate it if you could recommend the group to them and have them contact me.
Definitely, definitely. I definitely will.
I
Um, and I want to share with them the Facebook page maybe, as
Sure.
well as maybe your email address. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would love to share it with as many people as I can, um, because it sounds like what you're doing is really important.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and then I'm going to stop recording so that we can finish.